All right, here we go. We're back again for another episode 7 of the Weekly Pulse. Today, we are going to be discussing everything to do with the scale. All our emotions and everything that goes into it will be our discussion. But first, as always, let's get to our wins of the week, starting with Josh. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so I've got two this week. One, I was pretty excited. It had been a while since I got a yoga in, and I made it this last week. Felt great to get back to yoga. And then my second win was, and I think Tina would agree, we made it out for our usual Saturday morning speed run. Only this week, because of busy schedules, it had to be an hour early. It was really cold, really windy. But we were really fast and we got it in, and we were done even earlier. So it was awesome.
Awesome. Good for you guys. I did not get up for that run. Jessica, what kind of wins do you got?
I tackled some of my to-do list that has been sitting on the refrigerator for a while. So I was able to get some of my decluttering done, which feels amazing. And I was also able to join Run Group for the first time last night, which was awesome because I've been wanting to do it for a long time. I almost skipped out, but then I saw Tina's post and I knew it was calling me to the run. So I was proud of myself for doing that when the voices in my head were telling me it was okay to skip it.
Sweet.
Tina, what was your win?
So yesterday, actually this happened, I didn't even know I was going to share this till last night. But it just so happened that I had forgotten my phone at, where I dropped my daughter off to get her haircut. When I walked back, I ran into a old client that I had worked with over the past year, had run into some personal issues and struggles, that they have been dealing with and stopped coming to the gym. We stopped on the street, spoke for a few minutes, and later on she sent me this text and I want to share it, what it said, because it was just important for what the win it actually is. But it just says, it was to me and Jessica. It says, "Hey ladies, first off, I miss you. Running into you, Tina, earlier hit home. As you've seen, life is still an emotional roller coaster. After watching episode 6, I know exactly what I need. I need my Pulse family back." So my win of the week is I'm excited about the impact that we are having on people and that we get the opportunity for them to share it with us. Had I not run into her, I wouldn't have necessarily gotten this message. And so it just feels good to know that people are watching and they're resonating. So this is probably not exactly the right time to do this, but if anybody watches this episode today and they really like it and resonate with anything or any of our past episodes, give us a like, share the episode, comment on it, send us a message if you're not comfortable sharing it. But your feedback is what is going to make this even more valuable to you.
Well said.
Well said. And that's an awesome win. There's no better wins than our, success of our clients or even previous clients or past clients, whatever. Hearing those successes is awesome. For myself, wins, the scavenger hunt last week went really well. We did a great job. Everything went smoothly. I believe we will raise close to $3,000 for the pickleball courts. So that's exciting. Other wins of the week would be also related to last week's podcast as well. I got several text messages from other people that watched the episode and, thought it was great, and they were able to resonate with us or resonate with me. And I was able to show some vulnerability that they had never seen before. So being able to relate on another level with people. And I assume if it related with a few people I know, that it also hit with some people that I didn't know that are watching as well. So like Tina said, please comment or let us know in some fashion if this is hitting home to you in any way, so we know what to talk about and continue on the right path. So let's get into today's topic, which I think is going to hit home with a lot of people. I would venture to say there's nobody on this planet that hasn't stepped on a scale at some time in their life and felt some kind of emotion from it. So we're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly with the scale, and what, how it's the use of this tool is different for every single person, and whether or not it's even a tool you should or shouldn't be using. So let's just get started. I'm going to start with you, Tina, just because I know personally you have a little bit of a personal story to go with the scale. So let's go over some emotions that the scale can create first. Let's kind of everybody start there, and we'll kind of go around and either your own personal experience or experiences you've had with clients that have stepped on the scale and the different emotions that it's brought out in them.
Yeah.
So,
So,
Tina,
so my relationship with the scale, has varied greatly over the past 10 years. 10 years ago, the scale was a source of fear. It was a source of anxiety. It was a source of what I just pictured to be my failure without actually knowing anything about it. And this is through like what the story I'm going to share. It's no fault of anything that happened with Jeff or Pulse, but when we used to do a weekly weigh in there, if I thought, this was just me thinking this, now that's why I want to make sure to preface that. If I thought Jeff might ask me to step on the scale, I would skip workout. I would not go and move my body to feel good because I was afraid of the scale. So that's one relationship I've had with the scale, is just absolute fear and actually talking myself out of doing good things because I was so afraid. Second thing, when I finally got weight loss rolling, when I was successful, when I was seeing changes, my relationship with the scale headed into a different and a more unhealthy direction, which was weighing my clothes before I put them on, before I'd come to the gym and weigh, and making sure that I picked out the lightest weighing clothing. And I never shared that with anybody, so this is going live for the first time, but that is two opposite ends of where the scale was for me at one time. Today, the scale is a tool that I use for measurement of where I'm at if I feel the need to step on it. I don't feel the need to step on it that often. And I've actually found a comfortable way for me to look at it as what it is, which is 3 numbers. They don't define anything about me. They don't define what I can do or what I'm capable of, either physically or mentally. So I would say that I've really come full circle with what the scale has meant to me personally.
yeah, which is a great story, and it's the scale, which I'll just piggyback off your personal story, is the scale has been a learning tool for me as a coach, and how I use it. And the way we used to use it is not the way that we use it anymore. And my perception of how to use it has totally changed dramatically, because I know you had that story, and I know there's other people that felt the same way. And my thinking is like, now with our, especially with our transformation program, when somebody starts, I don't even want them to touch the scale for at least 4 to 6 weeks, because it's a validation seeking machine is what that scale is at. Why we even step on it, in my opinion, most people are stepping on it because they're seeking validation for what they've done over the past week or 2 weeks, whatever it is. And they're letting that number validate whether, yes, that was good, or no, that was shit. And now we've learned that, what, the scale is a tool that can be used, and we'll get into how we use it on the positive side. But I'm going to kind of keep going on the negative, is that, if you get on it seeking that validation, you could have had most people step on the scale because they actually think they did really well. They ate their fruits, they ate their vegetables, they exercised more than they have been, they restricted their food, they're feeling really good. And so they're assuming that everything is going to be good when they get on, and that is not always the case. And then as soon as they step on, all those good feelings just immediately get eliminated. And now they feel like shit for what they did. They're pissed off that they actually ate their fruits. They're pissed off that they worked out instead of being proud of what they did, that they're making progress heading in the right direction. And it just, I think we're really finding out that there's so much more to weight loss than just moving more and eating less. And that it's going to be there is no consistency to it. Unfortunately, that is just the reality of life and a weight loss journey, is there's no consistency. So I hope that makes sense in relation to, how we used to use it and how we've changed it, based on Tina's story. Is, we've all learned that, we're going to use the scale in appropriate ways and when it's appropriate for the right person, and not make anybody feel obligated to step on the scale. We don't even do it here at the gym anymore for various reasons, which we can talk about too. But let's stick with kind of emotions anyways. So, Jessica, do you have any emotional stories or things you can think of that would relate to that?
I do. And it's really ironic because last week I shared a win that I had, and it was with one of my 12-week transformation clients. And she came in and the first thing we did is we sat down and we talked about her wins for the week. And they were incredible. Her energy was up. She was sleeping better. She was feeling stronger. She was looking stronger. She was, well, still is, I shouldn't say was, lifting more weights. What else? She was eating better, drinking more water. She had about 12 wins for the week. And that was the biggest amount of wins I had seen so far. So we celebrated and it was awesome. She went home and thought to herself, okay, so I'm going to get on the scale. I want to see what the scale says. The scale was exactly the same. Now, another one of the things that she had down as a win also was her jeans were fitting her differently and her yoga pants were coming off when she was running, but the scale didn't reflect that. So she got down on herself. And the scale is what I like to refer to it as the thief of joy, because if you're going to it seeking one answer and it gives you another, it's going to take all your happiness from you. So we had to sit down and draw out her own scale. And so on one side, we just put the number that she saw. And on the other side, we put all of those incredible feelings that she had felt from the week before. So that scale won. So we just found a better scale to measure her happiness by versus numbers. So we turned it into a win.
Which is good. But again, that's just such a common story that people are having over and over and over, but they're not going back to reflect on all the happiness and joy of the changes that they've made and how that's actually the real wins, and the scale shouldn't be able to take that from you. Josh, how about you? Do you got any personal or client emotions with the scale?
Yeah, certainly. I think the first one I'd share would be my own personal one, because it goes kind of along the line of what you all three have shared here. But I spent probably the better part of 2 decades of my adult life weighing myself every morning. And it was an absolute validation. I mean, in my mind, whether I was going to have a good day or a bad day. And it took me up until about 1.5 years ago, when we started sitting down and talking about some of these things, that, that number really doesn't matter. It's more, how I'm feeling, how my clothes are fitting. Do I like what I see in the mirror? Those kind of things. And the only time I get on the scale now is every 6 months when I go for a checkup at the doctor. And I let the other indicators in my life guide the way. And I've seen this from numerous clients now that my eyes are open, to all these facts.
Yeah, which, to me, if you can get to that point where you don't need it at all, it's a great feeling. I've worked with several people here lately, and I know, and I'm learning how obsessive people have actually been with the scale, where it's literally step on that thing every single day. And that sets the tone for their entire day on how they're going to eat, how they're going to work out, if they're going to work out, if they're going to eat. Just really dictates a whole lot of things that are really pretty unhealthy in the general overall scheme of things. And, you know, one lady that I'm working with just online, she hasn't been on the scale since we started, but man, everything in her life is changing. Her clothes are totally different. And she told me yesterday, she's finally not being strangled by her bra anymore. It's like, okay, well, if that's happening, then there is no need to step on the scale, because you know the body fat is changing. She's running faster than she's ever ran before. So everything is turning in the right direction without the stress of even stepping on the scale. And again, she knows that it becomes an obsessive thing. So we just made the agreement, let's not touch the thing. And I'm working with plenty of other people that are doing the same thing and having great success. And it's just a weight lifted off their shoulders, knowing that we can go through this process, and that doesn't even have to be a part of it, that I can actually change everything I want in my life, and the scale doesn't have to be a part of it, is a pretty heavy load that gets to be lifted off a lot of people's shoulders when they realize you can do it without that. Anybody else have any thoughts on kind of that, or want to chime in to add anything there?
Yeah, I would just add that if you do have an unhealthy relationship with the scale or what the numbers do to you mentally, specifically mentally, I would say take a break from the scale, like Jeff kind of talked about. That's definitely something we do with our transformation clients. Make sure that instead of worrying so much about what those numbers are, just as 3 numbers, but what they mean to you and what they mean about you. So meaning, let's go into more of why your weight is important to you. That's the important work that needs to be done.
So any other thoughts on why, you know, avoiding the scale or just not using it as a tool is important, Jessica?
Yes, I would say moving your scale. If your scale is in plain view, get it out of the way. I know a lot of people keep it right on their bathroom floor. So they walk in and it's right in front of their face. It's very tempting. So if you could move it and, you know, put it in the cabinet, put it in your laundry room, just out of sight, out of mind, so you're not fixated on it.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. And there's nobody on the planet that's going to convince me that it's a good idea to weigh in every day. There's too many variables that can happen in our body that weighing every day, you are not going to see any significant change if you're doing anything in a healthy fashion. So if you're going to do it, it's a once a week, same day, same time, same everything, and then just get that thing out of your face for the rest of the week. But let's kind of get into where it's actually now where it can be a useful tool. And where I find the most value in it is when I'm fearing that people aren't eating enough and they're struggling, not quite sure they're seeing the change. All the feelings are good. They're doing all the right stuff. They feel great, but they still want that body composition change and they want to lose body fat. And generally speaking, they're not eating enough calories. And we've kind of talked about this in that frustration zone. It's hard to get somebody know if we're getting out of it if we're not doing something that's measurable. And sometimes it takes a little while to see our clothes fit differently. It can take 10, 15 pounds for that change to happen. So this can give us a little bit more insight on am I eating the right amount of food or am I not? Do I need to eat more food? And that's generally the direction it ever goes. Honestly, I'm rarely ever talking to somebody and saying, yeah, you need to eat less. When they're checking all their boxes of doing the right stuff, it leads to not eating enough, which leads us into frustration, which we've talked about. And then now nothing's moving, but they're doing all the right things. So that's where I find the scale can be a valuable tool, but not until all those habits are built to where we think we should be having success. We're eating at home. We're eating 2 fruits a day. We're eating 2 vegetables a day. We're drinking our water. We're going to sleep and getting 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep. And all those things are becoming habit. And if still no change, now it's maybe a good time to try to use it, but definitely as just a tool. But like I said, it's pretty much impossible to step on there and not get some kind of emotion, good or bad. Any other thoughts on where you guys think that I missed that the scale is more of a useful tool? Josh?
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback onto what you were saying, I've sat down with a few people here recently where just what you were saying, we're trying to get them to eat more. And I've told them, because when people are wanting to lose weight and you're saying we have to eat more to lose, sometimes you get that big deer in the headlights, like, what are you saying? And so I'll say, hey, give me a couple of weeks, give this a try. We'll jump on the scale. And I don't care at that point if they even lose weight, but it's just validation to show you're not going to gain weight if we do this and give this a try. We're just to show them, hey, give this a try. There's more than just these numbers here. So yeah, that's kind of where I thought it tied in.
Yeah, it's definitely a good confidence booster for those people that are really struggling with the idea that they need to eat more to lose weight. Like I said, it's a very strange thing that happens, but it's definitely the truth. Any other thoughts on that, or whether scale is a useful tool, or how we can use it in the positive way?
Yeah, so I think one thing to look for when you can use it in a positive way, that it doesn't cause you to have, that you don't have a bad relationship with it, and you can use it as a helpful tool, is using it to see your trend over time. Meaning, you've been working on your habits and behaviors for 6 weeks, you're taking weigh-ins, so you might start to see a trend. And if you weren't weighing in, you might not know where you were at if you're not using that tool of measurement. Of course, there's all the other measurements we can use, like we talked about, like our clothes fitting looser, how we're feeling, and things like that. But in that way, looking for that trend over time, it kind of is helpful to see it if it doesn't affect you. And then I always just want to make sure we remember to add this part in, is especially because this one really resonates with me, is that change takes time, consistency added up with weeks over time. That's where you're going to start to see things changing. So when we look at it week to week, it can get frustrating, but looking for the trend just allows you to take the measurement, move on, and keep doing the things you're doing, which is really working on behavior change.
Yeah. So does anybody, so we kind of went over the good, the bad, I think the ugly, just to kind of recap, maybe condense this down for people, but what we, and kind of how we do things or encourage people to do it, is to, if you're looking to start making a change and changing your body fat and trying to become healthier, is to go ahead and give yourself a starting point. Work on your habits for at least 4 to 6 weeks before you get back on, and prove to yourself that you do feel better, and let it be a true mind and body connection between feeling good and having results, and not needing the scale to validate, yes, you're making good decisions, yes, you feel better, because like, Jessica said, that thing will tear everything away from you real fast. I forget, what'd you say? What'd you call it, Jessica?
Thief of joy.
Thief of joy. Yes. So that scale can take your joy real fast. And I even suggest, before you get on it for the first time, write down exactly how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't forget, because it may not go the way you wanted to. And go back and recap what reread what you wrote down, so that way you can continue to make progress. And then also become curious. If nothing changed, be curious as to why.
Mm-hmm.
That often gets forgotten, and we lose curiosity, and we just get frustrated, or maybe we get super excited. You're losing weight and it's all going well, but be curious. Why did I lose weight? Why did I stay the same? Why did I gain weight? And give true reflection as to what you've been doing over the last 4 to 6 weeks, and let that validate whether you should or shouldn't have success, because you're probably going to find the answers in there, and you don't need the scale to dictate your success at all. And again, it's just a tool that can be good, can be bad, can be ugly. So does anybody have any kind of parting shots on the scale? I think we've touched it, or did I miss anything?
No, but I do think that if numbers are that important to you, and you believe that you are going to get on the scale at least once a week, I would also try doing some body measurements too, because although the scale might not tip, might not go down, might not go up, your measurements will change if you are lifting weights, if you're doing a full strength training, things will change. It might not be the number, but your body is changing. So if you're going to compare one number, maybe you could look into other areas also.
Yeah, that's a great idea too. Measurements, again, I like to think of your clothes as being a measurement tool, but again, it's not always going to tell the story as well as actually getting out the tape measure and doing it specifically like that. If anybody out there is really struggling with this aspect or has had problems with it, please send us a message and let us know so we can help you out, give you some guidance on what to do, what not to do, moving forward, so you can get the results that you're truly looking for, and hopefully just your overall health and happiness that you're looking for in the long run. So unless anybody's got anything else, we will see you guys next week.